Good Wednesday evening, Southeast Texas. Hope you're doing well. We're going to take a detailed look at your forecast over the next 15 minutes of your 7-day forecast. And it looks like quite a bit of change coming up. Already starting to see some low clouds and maybe a little bit of fog starting to develop. This is our view right over our station here in Beaumont. Mid-County Plumbing showing that. And this is part of the roofing 911 Skycam network. Patchy fog this evening into maybe late tonight. Then the winds will pick up towards the morning and that will erode the fog. So I'm not expecting any issues as far as the commute coming up tomorrow morning as long as those winds start increasing like we think. Windy Thursday is expected, maybe some isolated showers. Our best chance of rain and thunderstorm activity that we've seen in seems like a couple weeks if memory serves. And over the next 7 days will come in Friday night. Then it's back to jackets and coats and fireplaces and back to space heaters as significantly colder weather comes in this weekend into early next week. May get another round late next week. We may modify temperatures a bit towards Wednesday with even a slight chance of showers ahead of another strong trough of low pressure coming down from Canada. Thank you. And right now, well, how about that? A little bit of fog starting to develop across southeast Texas right now. Dense fog advisory in effect for Jefferson and Orange counties, and that's until 8 a.m. That will probably have to be expired early because I think the winds will start increasing towards the morning hours, and that will erode or dissipate that fog prior to the rush hour tomorrow morning. But can't rule out some fog this evening. A lot of the modeling showing that. Look at that. That's fog. But look how the winds increase, and that erodes the fog towards 6 a.m. So some fog later on this evening, tonight, and then after about 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it should start eroding as the winds start picking up off the Gulf. Here is 5 a.m. Look at the winds, maybe some 15-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Yeah, that'll eat up fog. So, yeah, we'll have some this evening, and then as those winds start increasing, the fog will erode and dissipate across southeast Texas. But we could see some wind gusts coming up tomorrow of around 25 to 30 miles an hour. I'll go with a 10% coverage of showers tomorrow. Otherwise, partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies. Upper 70s here in the Triangle. Look at those winds gusting to 30 miles an hour. And I just don't think we'll see a 30. Now, this is modeling, okay? So I showed you my forecast. Here's modeling, and it's showing a 20 to 30% coverage. We'll see about that. I think it's going to be lower than that. Up in the lakes, we'll go 77 with a 20% coverage of showers. No severe weather expected. South winds will be windy, 10 to 15, some gusts to 25. So this is my forecast, 20% coverage, and it has no rain, wouldn't you think? No rain up in the lakes area according to this modeling. Anyway, modeling does show maybe our best chances up in the lakes, wouldn't you agree? 10 to 20% coverage, light showers, some sprinkles, light stuff. I think we'll see highs in the mid, maybe upper 70s, and lots of wind across southeast Texas as that humidity will be increasing. Normally, we should see 63 for afternoon highs. Tomorrow morning will be above that for morning lows. About 25 degrees above normal for morning lows. And Thursday and Friday will be a good, 15 degrees above normal as far as those highs. And then below normal temperatures for highs are expected Saturday, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday as winter returns across southeast Texas. That also means lows in the 30s to lower 40s. Temperatures may moderate a bit Wednesday ahead of another trough of cold weather coming in late next week. So a couple rounds of cold weather on the way. For Thursday, again, I'm going with a 10% coverage, light stuff. Friday, we'll go with a 30% coverage and then bump it up to a 50 to 60% coverage Friday night. Best chances will be up in the lakes area, then dry weather expected Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then maybe a slight chance coming up next Wednesday. And again, it looks like an inch or less over the next 7 days. Not a big deal. We should see, let's see, 17 times 7, 4, 7, 119, 1.19 inches would be normal for the next 7 days. So you can see this is certainly below that, so the drought will worsen. Speaking of the drought, we get the new drought monitor. It's updated weekly, and so it hasn't changed. But we're now, as of today, 1.2 inches below normal just since the beginning of the year. and over 3 inches since December, below normal since December the 1st. Tomorrow, a low chance of wildfires across southeast Texas expected. Otherwise, looking at some high clouds out there, at least on visible satellite, some of that low cloudiness trying to come in off the Gulf. As you can see, very mild temperatures into the mid to upper 60s on the Pro Roofing Concepts satellite and radar loop. Otherwise, what happened in winter? Well, it's on break. Look at Dallas, 75, even 66 in Oklahoma City, 76 into Austin and San Antonio, 82 into Laredo, and certainly colder out to the west. And that is the direction another disturbance is coming in. That's going to bring us quite a bit of wind coming up tomorrow afternoon. Lots of clouds preceding it because of a very active subtropical jet. And that subtropical jet is being energized by this trough of low pressure. See the dip in these contours? This is the upper level pattern. This is what we call a short. The upper level pattern is really energizing the subtropical jet, dragging in Pacific moisture, and will create partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies across our area tomorrow. Now, as this moves towards New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle tomorrow, that means the winds will really increase across our area. 25, 30, maybe 35 mile per hour winds. Again, the worst of the winds will probably be along the coastline here in the Triangle, lesser up in the lakes area. Otherwise, this will pass us, and then we'll be watching another trough of low pressure, only instead of it coming out of the Pacific, it'll be coming down from the northwest, and that will bring us colder weather as we work on into the weekend in the form of a fairly stout cold front. Look at all that high cloudiness. So tonight, patchy dense fog this evening, and after about 2, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, we ought to start seeing that fog erode or dissipate because of the strengthening winds as that disturbance moves closer to the Texas Panhandle overnight. But these low temperatures are above our normal high temperatures this time of year. So we'll be running about 25 degrees above normal for those low temperatures coming up tomorrow morning. And as you can see, as we head towards the afternoon hours, we ought to start seeing a few sprinkles and light showers moving across the area. Wouldn't you agree? 20% coverage in the Triangle or up in the lakes, and about a 10% coverage in the Triangle. Mid, maybe upper 70s, and quite a bit of wind and lots of humidity across southeast Texas coming up tomorrow afternoon. That goes by, and then we'll see our next trough of low pressure move on in as we head towards the weekend. There's that disturbance coming out of the Pacific, going across New Mexico, the Texas Panhandle, and then bypassing us well off to the north into Oklahoma. That's the wind bag of a disturbance across our area. Then here comes the Canadian trough of low pressure on into our area as we work on in to Saturday. That will keep the winds up, so no fog coming up much of next week, and certainly not this weekend as that trough of low pressure goes by. This will bring us our best chance of shower and thunderstorm activity. Severe weather, you ask? Off to our north and east. I would say northeast Texas, northern Louisiana, Arkansas, and back over to Mississippi. So that trough comes on through. Then we'll be watching a disturbance coming out of the Pacific once again, and that may give us a few light showers coming up on Wednesday. And then guess what? We got another trough of low pressure coming out of Canada. And look at the flow directly out of Canada, straight on into Texas. So some more cold weather coming up late next week. Whenever you get this big ridge of high pressure that goes up towards up into Alaska, look at that ridge. Perfect scenario for a cold weather situation developing as we head on in to next week. So that dense fog advisory may be expired or canceled early because of the strengthening winds coming up tomorrow morning. That's what I think is going to happen. Cloudy skies, some patchy fog, and choppy seas around 3 to 4 feet expected tomorrow as the winds start to increase out of the south at 15 to 20 knots. Water temperature back up to 68 degrees. It'll start cooling off once again behind this next front. 5:58 a.m. and 7:34 p.m. are your high tides at Sabine Pass. So tonight, evening fog, well, we'll say until about 2 o'clock in the morning. And then it'll be cloudy and very mild across our area. Lows will be in the mid to upper 60s, above our normal high temperatures this time of year. And the spring break will continue tomorrow. We'll go with a 10 to 20% coverage. It's going to be windy, wind gusts 25, 30 miles an hour. I expect wind advisories for Jefferson and Orange counties tomorrow. Regardless, as you can see, high temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s. So a ball cap, a ponytail is probably the best advice for tomorrow. I think you'd leave the rain gear at home, only a 10 to 20% coverage. Now, as we head on into Friday, we'll go with a 30% coverage of showers and storms in the afternoon. But it says 50. Well, that's towards Friday night, okay? So we'll put this into motion, and you can see there's Friday night. Scattered showers and storms, severe weather off to the north and east. And here comes the northerly winds, the colder weather. You're going to be able to turn your air conditioner off, but you have to turn your heater back on as we head towards the weekend. Those lows back into the 40s by Sunday morning. Highs only in the 50s coming up Saturday, and with a northerly wind at 20 miles an hour, a little bit blustery with lots of clouds, lots of gray coming up the next several days, as you see Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And some of you may have to cover or bring in your plants. It's back and forth between the greenhouse or bring them in, one of those two. Monday morning could see a light freeze up in the lakes area. As you can see, it looks like the mid to upper 30s here in the triangle. So winter ain't done yet. As we start to moderate temperatures coming up Wednesday, we'll see a 20% coverage, at least the way it looks right now. That'll probably change, but that's kind of what we're dealing with right now as far as the forecast. 65 on Wednesday. Then that next trough of low pressure comes on in, and we'll flip probably even colder as we work on into late next week. So some cold weather, could be several days of cold weather. I say cold for our area. I don't think it's all that cold, but certainly below normal temperatures are expected. So if you're just joining us, we are expecting some fog already. Visibility is coming on down across the area. Now, this is not going to be all night. We expect winds to start increasing after about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, so the fog that we have at that time will start to dissipate. So I believe that these dense fog advisories will be expired early because of the strengthening winds as an upper level disturbance that is currently over Arizona moves to New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle by daybreak. So by daybreak, I don't think we're going to have much of a problem with fog across our area. Look at the fog moving on in. This is modeling. I have 3 or 4 models showing us that we should see fog through late tonight. Then the winds strengthen, and look at the fog. It goes bye-bye. We've seen this before many times. Otherwise, you can see the winds increasing across the area. Could see winds 25, maybe 30 miles an hour tomorrow. So a ball cap is probably not a bad idea, or put it in a ponytail, or use lots of styling gel like I do. Otherwise, as we head on in to tomorrow afternoon, not a big deal. 10 to 20% coverage. I think the best chance is up in the lakes area, and we're certainly not expecting severe weather coming up tomorrow. Otherwise, as I've said, 63 degrees is our normal high temperature this time of year. Right now, we are climatologically speaking in the coldest part of the year. Our average high is only 63. After the 15th of January, average high temperatures start climbing back up 64, 65, and we start the warming trend. So this is the week for cold weather, but we all know that it can continue into February. So we'll see a very spring-like pattern Thursday and Friday, below normal temperatures as we flip-flop the other way or yo-yo the other way this weekend into early next week. As far as rainfall, 10% coverage Thursday. Friday, that 30% goes up to a 50%.